go. Hi guys. Welcome back to Dynamic English Live here on YouTube. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that can confuse a lot of people because we're talking about past tense verbs, okay? So in English, we have our past simple and we have our present perfect. Both of these are the past tense, even though one is called present perfect. So thank you all for being here. I see some people joining. We're going to wait just a minute or two and let a few more people join because today's class, I'm going to teach you, and then we're going to do an activity together. So if you want to be able to take the test a little bit later, then stay tuned for today's class. Now, while we're waiting on a few people to join, I just want to remind all of you that we are not just a YouTube channel and we are not just an Instagram account. We are actually a language institute with over 130 native English-speaking professors. We offer courses for you in your home or your office and online, and all with flexible schedules. So, if you're watching this because you're trying to improve your fluency or your pronunciation in English, then you should probably contact us to take a course. Yeah, we have a link right here in our YouTube page that you can click and go to our website and get all of the information about our courses. So, hi, thanks for the class teacher. No. Thank you, Roan46. Hi, thank you for being here. Hi, teacher. Hello. All right. So, as I mentioned, today we're talking about past tense verbs in English. And I know they can be complicated. All right. A big mistake that people make, Spanish speakers make when learning English, is to maybe just use the verb was or were and then a present tense verb. But we can't really do that. We need to conjugate our verbs. So, without further delay, let's go ahead and get started with today's class, which is past simple versus, gotta point that way, versus present perfect. All right? So let's just be very clear here. The past simple, the first and most important thing to know is that we use that for something that is finished. Okay? The next important thing for the present perfect is that we use that for an action that began in the past, but maybe hasn't finished yet. Okay? So, if we can go to slide number 1. First, we're going to talk about our past simple, right? Probably the most complicated for English learners. All right. So when we talk about past simple, when we use past simple, we are talking about specific times in the past, okay? It's really important that we are specific. So as you can see here, we've got specific times in the past. So maybe some examples would be yesterday, 5 minutes ago, all right? So it doesn't matter, even if it was just 5 minutes in the past, it's in the past. Past simple, finished action. Maybe we can refer to a year. If it's not this year, then that's the past. So in 2000, we can maybe say the other day, last month, last week, last year. Anything involving last, well, we need to use the past simple. So some examples there would be, I went to the park yesterday. That's actually true. I did go to the park yesterday. And the next example would be, I studied in China in 2010. That's not true. I've never been to China. Now, I want to point out that when we're using our past simple, and in our examples there, you have an example of an irregular verb with went, okay? And then you have an example of a regular verb with studied, okay? So with our irregular verbs, remember guys, you just have to memorize those. And with your regular verbs, they're going to end in ed. However, when we're specific about the time, we have to use that past simple formula. All right, Now let's look at the present perfect. So if you're going to see here, the present simple, or the past simple, sorry, was very specific. Whereas our present perfect, you're going to notice there that first word, vague. Vague means it's unclear. It's not necessarily something specific, right? We're not referring to yesterday or last year or 10 years ago. We are only referring to a time. I don't know what happened there, but so if you see those keywords there, we've got ever, never, not yet, already, so far, to date, till now, and up to the present. All right. So those are all keywords that whenever we use those words, we know that we're going to need to use our present perfect. And if you remember from our previous lessons, the present perfect is always going to use the auxiliary verb have or has plus the participle. All right. So this is where it becomes very important to understand that third column of words, the participle. All right. So if we look at some examples there, you're going to see I've, which is the contraction of I have. So I have never been gone to the park. We've got an error there. We can use either one of those. So sorry, it should be I've never been to the park, or we could also say I have never gone to the park. Okay. So anytime you see that, the gone or the been, well, those are our participles, right? So we're talking about actions in the past that maybe continue into today. The next example would be I haven't been to China yet, right? Now, pay attention with that yet. When we find yet at the end of a sentence, it means we have the intention to go, but we still have not. So anytime we see those keywords there, ever, never, yet, already, so far, to date, till now, and up to the present, it's a pretty safe bet that we're going to use the present perfect. All right, let's take a look at the next slide. We're going to go back to past simple. And really, we've got four times when we need to use the past simple. So, as I mentioned before, finished time. Something that is completely finished, it's over, does not continue. All right. So your example there, we lived in Japan from 1995 to 1998. That action is finished because 1998 is a long time ago. All right. A definite time. So if I'm mentioning something that happened in a specific month, a specific year, a definite time, then I need to use my past simple. So I've got I saw the Eiffel Tower in 2007. Okay. So the difference there, if we're using the perfect tense, you would just say I have seen the Eiffel Tower. Note the difference. Next, we have a series of finished actions. All right. So he read the book and then watched the movie. Now notice, with this series of actions, there's no specific time mentioned. There's no date. There's no yesterday or last year. However, we do have two past tense verbs in the same sentence. That lets me know that these actions, they're finished. So again, he read the book and then he watched the movie. So we have read and watched. Okay. So although we're using past simple, I don't have to be specific because I know he finished. He finished the activities, reading and watching. And last, we have repeated actions, okay? Normally, things that we do on a regular basis, we keep those in the present, okay? So maybe I always go to the supermarket. I sometimes go to the park. Those we're going to keep in the present. However, some of these, if we're talking about the past, and you'll notice in the example, he went to the cinema every weekend last year, okay? Because I'm specific about last year, I have to keep that in the past simple. All right, now let's take a look at, the present perfect. All right. So, like I mentioned before, these are the similar examples, but with the difference. So we'll go back and forth so you can see the difference. But here, if I say, I have worked as a teacher since 2011. All right. Right now, well, I'm still teaching. I'm teaching you right now. So that means that action, well, it's not finished. Okay. It started in the past and it continues today. So I cannot say I worked as a teacher because that would mean I'm not a teacher anymore and I'm still a teacher. Okay. So this is where we combine our auxiliary verb have or has with our past tense verb. In this case, it's a regular verb, worked. So I have worked as a teacher since 2011. Next, we have the indefinite time. So just like I gave you in the example before, I have seen the Eiffel Tower. Okay. So you know that at some point in my past, I have seen, yo he visto, right? I have seen the Eiffel Tower, but you don't know when. Okay. And it's really not that important. Just the important thing is that it happened in the past. All right. Next, we have the experience. And this is very common to ask a question to say, in your life. So I want you to pay attention to this question because it's a very, very common question in English. And questions start out, have you or have you ever? It's a very, very important question that we ask to really everyone, friends, coworkers, because we're asking if they have experienced something or maybe seen something in the past, from now to any time in the past. Okay, so really important when we're asking about experience. Have you or have you ever seen this movie? Okay, and then we have the result. That's our final category there with present perfect. And again, you're going to note that keyword already. Okay, she has already watched this movie 3 times. Right? So I see a question here. I'm going to just take a quick moment. How can I get more information about the courses you're offering at the Institute? Really good question. We have a link here in our YouTube profile, but also you can follow us on Instagram, and we have a link there on our profile, linktree/dynamicenglish.com. But you should be able to connect here through the link right here on YouTube. And if not, dynamicenglish.cl. All the information you will need is there. So please contact us. No se ve. Okay. I'm not sure why. But okay. Hopefully you can see the graphics. So if anybody has any questions, are we clear about when we're going to use our past simple? Okay, it's very specific. We have to mention the time, when the event occurred, and basically when it finished. Whereas with present perfect, we don't have to be so specific. However, we do need to use the auxiliary verb have or has. All right. So if we can, let's go maybe to the next slide. Do we have the next? Yeah. So I'm going to ask you all to participate in this so I can see your comments below. We're going to take these 10 questions, and I want to see how well you do. All right. So number 1, okay, speaking of seeing movies, we talked about she has seen that movie many times, 3 times. We have number 1 here, the Titanic. Blank, our verb is sink, in 1912. So, in the comments, who can tell me what would be the correct? Will we use the past simple, or will we need to use the present perfect for this example? So let's see who can answer and tell us, is it past simple, or is it present perfect? What do we think? Number 1. the Titanic. So our past simple would be sank, or if we're using the present perfect, we would say has sank or has sunk. Let's see, I think sunk. Sank. So Alex is correct. So our past simple of the verb sink is sank with an A. Now, our participle would be sunk, okay? Because it tells you a specific time. Yes, Alex, very good job. Because it mentions 1912, okay? So, because it mentions that specific time, past simple. So good job. All right, next, if we say, somebody blank my bicycle. Now I'll have to walk home. What do we think that is? Is that going to be past simple or is that going to be present perfect? Has that action finished? There we go. Alex, again, for the win. Somebody has stolen. All right. So notice how we're using that. Somebody has stolen my bicycle. Now I'll have to walk home. So we understand that this is in the moment because they say now, but the action of the bicycle being stolen, that already happened, right? We're just now understanding that, now I have to walk home, okay? But the bicycle, it's still missing, okay? Started in the past and it continues to now. The bike, still missing. So if you find my bike, please write to us here and let me know where my bike is. Yeah. Okay, I don't have a bike. All right. Speaking of bikes, number 3, Jerry blank fall off his bike 3 times this month. So let's see. What do we think? Has fallen. Again, Alex for the win. Good job. Why though, could I not say Jerry fell off his bike 3 times this month? Why can I not say that? The reason is because this month is not finished, okay? We are still in November. Poor Jerry, we're only 10 days into November and he's already 3 times. Ciao. But because this month is continuing, we're not finished with it, we need to use our present perfect. Now, whenever we arrive to the beginning of next month, at that point, I can then say, Jerry fell off of his bike 3 times last month. That's perfectly fine because last month is finished, okay? But as long as we are in the same month, in the same week, in the same day, until it's finished, we need to focus on our present perfect. All right, number 4, speaking of the Titanic, again, I blank see the movie Titanic 3 times. I'm going to see it again tonight. Yeah, so yeah, and Rowan 46, good job as well. Correct answer. So what do we think on number 4? I saw the movie Titanic 3 times, or I have seen? Rodrigo Frankie, yes, I have seen. Hi, Rodrigo. Thank you for being here. And thank you for calling me sensei. Yeah. So, Rowan, I understand the confusion there, that you might say like, I saw the movie Titanic 3 times. I would understand if you say that. However, if you're going to use that past simple verb of saw, we need to mention a specific time, okay? So I would say, because I think I saw the movie Titanic 3 times in 1998 when the movie was released, right? And I still watch it every time if it's on TV. I'm like, oh, Titanic, let's watch. I know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, but we still watch it. Why? Crazy. Yeah. But in this case, Rowan, because we're not specific on the time, we would just say, I have seen. I have seen. Okay. So tell me, maybe in the comments, how many times do you think you have seen the movie Titanic? Because for me, it's probably 40 times. Like I said, every time it's on TV, I'm like, ooh, I'll watch Titanic again and again and again. So leave me a comment. I would like to know if some of you have a big number on how many times you've watched Titanic. All right, let's move on this activity. Number 5, I blank or walk to work every day for the last 6 weeks. Okay. Let's see what do we think on this one? Is this going to be past simple or is this going to be present perfect? See, we've got that key word in there for last. So what do we think? Any ideas? We could say, so Alex, your been walking comment, you're getting into present continuous, okay? So when you're changing that second verb to an ing, remember that we're talking about that action is still occurring. So not quite. But every day for the last 6 weeks. So let's think about this. We've got the word last. So maybe the idea would be, I walked to work every day for the last 6 weeks. Yeah? Because we've got that key word last. Okay? So we're saying the last 6 weeks, you walked to work. Maybe this week, you're taking your bike. Maybe you're taking my bike that you stole. Who knows? Remember? Somebody stole my bicycle. All right. So we're going to say I walked to work every day for the last 6 weeks. But now, no. So pay attention to that keyword last. I see some people. Yeah, Rodrigo, you look, not so, it's only because we're using that word last. Okay. When we use that word, that's when we're going to know that it's a specific time and we need to use that past simple. Okay. You can say, like, I have walked to work all year, right? I live very near to this studio, so I have walked to the studio all year. Okay. And I still do. This year is not finished. But when we're talking about the last 6 weeks, sorry, man, they're finished. We're not talking about this week. So, but good guess. Good guess. I have been seeing it 4 or 5. I don't know what that means. I see. I have been. I have seen. I see what you're saying. Okay. Let's see. So number 6. Let's go to the next. What do we think here? When she was young, she blank in soul. Okay. I think somebody actually already answered that. No, that's hard. So what do we think? When she was young, and what is going to be our key word here? As I said, yeah, there we go, lived. So even though that is not specific, we've got 2 past tense verbs. And according to the context, she was young. So now we know she's not young. She's old, okay, or older. So remember, anytime we have those 2 past tense verbs, past simple. We don't have to be so specific when we've got the 2 past tense. Okay, next, number 7. This is in the moment. So if we say, ouch, blank cut my finger. Okay, so remember the verb cut doesn't have a conjugation. So would I just say, I cut my finger? Or would I say, I have cut my finger? Let's see what you all think. She hasn't, no, lived. So did I cut my finger? Or if it's happening in the moment? And this is where it's very important to pay attention to punctuation. So Alex, Isabel is correct. So Alex, you say both, I guess, I've cut or I cut. However, we need to look at that punctuation. So after that word ouch, it's got an exclamation point. typically that means that's happening right, that it just happened, okay? And so if you react and you say, ouch, I have cut my finger, because the cut is still there, okay? It's not healed. Now, if you're going to use that past simple and just say, I cut my finger, then you would need to say, I cut my finger 1 hour ago, I cut my finger yesterday, I cut my finger last week, all right? But pay attention to that punctuation, because that means it's happening right now. But good guess. Not so off. All right, next, number 8. Long sentence here. I blank lose my key yesterday, so I couldn't get into the house. Eventually, I found it in my jacket pocket. So what do we think here? We're going to say past simple or present perfect. Yeah, this one's should be pretty clear because we've got a specific mention of time. So number 8, I blank lose my key yesterday, so I couldn't get into the house. Eventually, I found it in my jacket pocket. What do we think? Lost. Good job. All 3 of you, Alex, Isabel, Rodrigo. Very good. I lost. And we have to say lost because, yeah, it's yesterday. Yesterday is finished. Yeah? Now, if we look at that same sentence and I'm in the moment and I say, oh, no, I have lost my keys. Where are they? Okay, because I still have not found them, that action continues. All right, so good job, guys. All right, number 9, we have his brother blank. We have visit London last year. Sorry, guys, I'm still here. If you can still hear me, we're having a little camera difficulty there, but no worries. I can still see your comments. So on number 9 for this activity, his brother blank, and we have our verb visit last year. So notice we have a specific time. So what do we think? His brother, so we can have 2 options. His brother visited, okay, because we have a regular verb there, or we can have has visited. All right, Isabel, good job. Just going to keep it in the simple past simple, I think. You are correct, Isabel. Very good job. All right, and lastly, number 10 on this activity, we have Jack blank live in Boston for the past 15 years. So we're going to keep that in past simple, or are we going to go with present perfect for that one? So we would have Jack lived in Boston for the past 15 years. Or is it Jack has lived in Boston? Because in this sentence, okay, so Alex, you're correct in that we will use, but let's remember that with our present perfect, while we need to use the verb have as our auxiliary verb, remember for he, she, and it, that it's has. There you go, Alex. Good job. Has, sorry. Both Alex and Isabel, you both. Has lived, because he's here now. Exactly. So I would say, I have lived in Chile for like 9 years in total. And because I still live in Chile, I have to use my present perfect. One day, maybe, when I move, then I can go and use my past simple and say I lived in Chile for 10 years. So we will see. So good job. Thank you for your participation in this activity. If there's any questions, I'm going to stay open for any questions, or if you want to ask anything, put some examples in the comments there. While I'm waiting, I'm just going to remind everyone here on our YouTube channel that we also post daily posts, short videos to our Instagram account. So if you're following us here on YouTube, but you're not on our Instagram, be sure to check out our Instagram. And if you want to see more videos like this, we have a lot of videos, right? Several other live classes, and we will continue to bring you some live classes. But I also want to remind you to put a like, comment, subscribe. If this is your first time watching one of our live videos, then share it with your friends, right? But make sure to put a like, comment. It really helps us if you show us some love, guys. Show us some love. All you got to do is copy, share it. So let's suppose last time I saw my daughter was 6 months ago. It has been a while since I have seen her. It has been a while since I haven't seen her. I can't tell. There's really no difference. I understand the confusion there, Alex, but you're correct. You could say it has been a while since I have seen her. Yeah. If that action is continuing into now, or it has been a while since I haven't seen her. Yeah. Technically, both of those are correct. Yeah. I would probably go with the first one though, because what you've got on the second example, while it's grammatically correct and you could say that, you're using your negative a little too much. We understand by the first example, since I have seen her. So, but you could say either way. No problem there. Teacher, why is it so confusing at times to apply this grammar exercise? Some tips to use them correctly. Actually, it's a really good question, Rowan, but if we could go back to the second, I think, or maybe the third or fourth and fifth slides. Yeah, those, Franco. No, the ones with the white bars. If we could put those up. Really, I don't think past simple or present perfect needs to be that confusing. It really is if you can sort of think about these in the finished, definite, right? Again, finished or repeated actions. Those are all past simple. Okay, so there on your screen, you should have those times. So let's just think about past simple in those contexts. Is it finished or is it still going? Do I know a specific time? Okay, then we need to use past simple. Now, if it's the present perfect, like I said, and you'll see there on the examples, those are unfinished or it's not really clear. It's an experience, but nothing specific. Really just kind of try to separate those. And for those of you who speak Spanish, who are native Spanish speakers, I really just want to tell you, if you're here in Chile, it is sort of a problem with Chileans and Chilean Spanish, okay? So I'm going to speak a little Spanglish for you. Here in Chile, it's very common that someone would say, Yo fui a España 3 veces. Yeah, I understand. However, what they really should be saying is Yo he visitado España 3 veces, okay? Because if you're going to say yo fui, I went, then we need to be specific. Yo fui a España el año pasado. I went to Spain last year, okay? But if we're just talking about a past experience, we need to use that auxiliary verb of have. And a lot of Chileans, well, you don't use it. So if you can start to think, maybe in proper Spanish, yo he visitado, tú has ido, right? That's what our present perfect is. We're talking about an action that started in the past, but we're not specific about it, all right? So maybe just try and think. Two sides of the brain, if that helps at all, Rowan. And I will say as well, we have another video. Brittany has a video right here on our YouTube channel about this very topic. So if you are interested in learning more and maybe seeing another teacher's examples, then I recommend that you check out Brittany's video right here on our YouTube channel. So I think that's all for today, guys. I don't see any more questions. I hope that you found this informative and that you will share it, put a like, watch it again, and that you completely understand the difference. So join us back here in 2 weeks. We are going to have another live YouTube class where we will be talking about those regular verbs in the past tense and how do we actually pronounce them, because they all end with ed, but pronunciation is completely different. So I'm going to be teaching you some pronunciation tips and techniques. So in 2 weeks, we'll be right back here on YouTube. And don't forget to check out our live classes on Instagram. And if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe and click that little bell, ding, 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 so that you get all the notifications. And we will see you back here next time. So from all of us here at Dynamic English, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being a part of our community. And we will see you later. Ciao.